It is currently the morning time, and today has been extremely foggy. I woke up at 5:30, and this was like the first day I actually got to sleep in, but my body did not want to sleep in. So I woke up at 5:30, and then I had anxiety about not putting the chickens away right, even though I know I did. So I walked over to the chickens and I made sure they were still alive. And then I went back to sleep for an hour. And then I woke up again at 6:30. Then I let the chickens and ducks out. And it was so foggy. And then I went back to sleep till like 8 o'clock. And now it's 8:30. And the crows, I think they're crows. I don't know if they're crows or ravens, but they were making so much noise this morning. Not sure what that was about. Yeah, so now I'm just going to make breakfast, probably eat some eggs since there's an unlimited supply of eggs here. I have been journaling every day, and it's helped me stay very grounded, and it's helped me kind of just conceptualize where I'm at mentally throughout my journey and through environment shifting and my external world shifting. I can keep track of my mental patterns during those times. And today I did wake up a little bit anxious. I used to give my anxiety a lot of attention, and I would fall into patterns where I would spiral and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I'm not smart, something bad's gonna happen, I'm a problem. Like all these different narratives that weren't no longer serving me. And so today, when I woke up with anxiety, I try to shift that by catching the thoughts that weren't so nice and replacing them with affirmations. And then I ended up doing like a money affirmation, which I feel like it was a little bit attached to. Um, but I will say, usually when I have dreams about childhood in ways and how I was treated as a child, I will have reoccurring dreams where I feel like I'm being yelled at by my mother specifically, and it'll happen maybe once or twice a month, but whenever I wake up after having those dreams, I usually feel a lot of anxiety or I have very bad insecurities that day. And so I think I had that dream last night and I remembered it this morning after doing a meditation that had to do with Mother Nature. I realized that it's probably coming up for me to journal about it and to process through it on a day where I'm not surrounded by anyone, so I can actually take the time to fall into those emotions and sink deep into them without feeling the need to cover up my sadness in any way. But in all states and in all phases of my journey, I'm as equally worthy of love through all of them, and I'm equally as worthy of good things. I will say that life has been quite an adventure lately. I am experimenting and exploring new aspects of myself that have yet to be touched upon, and it can be really daunting, and it can also be kind of emotionally draining to figure out and perceive new aspects of yourself that you didn't give the space to before. And I've been feeling a lot more tired lately. I've also been a lot more soft spoken, but I think that might be because I don't feel the need to shout as much. And I have been fully immersed by nature and surrounded by nature, and I feel a lot more grounded. So, currently, I am learning a lot about finding safety within my own body, and it can be a lot, especially if you're like a deep feeler and you feel a lot of other people's emotions, or more so if you tend to overanalyze and you tend to overthink about how others perceive you, which has always been
one of my struggles. And I don't want to continue manifesting that within my reality. I don't want to carry on that perception. So instead, I used to see the world like that, but I'm slowly shifting that narrative. And oh gosh, I have felt so uncomfortable within my body lately while solo traveling and while staying with people and experiencing new cultures and new perspectives and new philosophies. It has brought up a lot of uncomfortable sensations and a lot of uncomfortable emotions. And within that, I have learned that my home will always be myself, first and foremost. And I am cocooned within my own existence. Oh gosh, it's just been so interesting observing how other people are living their lives. And I'm staying on property with a host family and I'm working on their farm. And I realized like they raise their daughters a very different way than I was raised. And within that too, I'm noticing all these reflections of, oh wow, I wish I grew up like that, or I'm glad I grew up the way I did because they have things that I didn't get and I have things that they didn't get. And so it's just such an interesting lesson to sit with, but I noticed that I'll like wake up in the mornings and I'll just like lie there because sometimes I crave just familiarity and I'm so immersed within the unfamiliar right now. I'm sleeping somewhere I've never slept. I'm in a totally different state. I'm in a totally different environment. I'm surrounded by people that I didn't know even a month ago. And for the most part, I'm alone. Like, there usually is like other people that are here and they're also volunteering and interning on this farm, but I have been like one of the only people here. So that was a little bit unexpected, but I realized too that I need that. I need time to separate and be alone, and it's been a little bit challenging, but I think that life will have its challenges and life can be uncomfortable, but it's just how you perceive life and how you work with the uncomfortable emotions and shifting the stressful situations into something that isn't as stressful.
On this day, we camped and we had a backpack in for I think about a mile or so, maybe half a mile. But we backpacked in with the 6 goats on the farm, and it was a very interesting experience. I will say it was definitely once in a lifetime. But at the camp spot, I found a huge tree, and I decided to set up my camera and walk across it for an aesthetic masterpiece. In the background, there was a really pretty mountain, and I sat there and I just thought about life for a second, and then I got up and walked back. But life is truly just such an abstract dance, a dance of getting to know yourself deeper and returning back home to yourself. Because through this whole journey, through all these travels, I've learned that the one person I will always have in my existence is myself, and I must take care of her, I must honor her, I must feed into her curiosity, and it's really just me taking care of my inner child. Right now, I'm in the process of reparenting myself by adventuring into the unknown and knowing that I will not abandon myself. I will protect my peace. I will keep myself safe. And within that, I've met so many beautiful people. And I have learned so many new philosophies and perspectives on life.
Basil. Snap your fingers. Basil.
It's okay.
One of my favorite things to do is to play with sand and watch as the tiny pieces fall between my fingertips. I saw a quote the other day and it went something like, "To the universe, I am no different than a grain of sand on the beach." I've been very fortunate to have an abundance of food with where I'm at. They have offered such a wide, healthy range of produce that I can eat free, and
yeah, I've had a lot of fun experimenting with new things, and I eat lots of sandwiches. I love sandwiches, they're very nostalgic. But yeah, this is just a cute little video of me and my sandwich. So, one of my nightly rituals has been writing poetry sitting on the stump of my tent, or the stump that's by my tent, and literally writing just the most gut wrenching, beautiful pieces of literature that makes no sense, but makes so much sense at the same time. So, I'm going to read you guys some that I've written within the past week of feeling deeply into my emotions and to just help me return back to my natural state of being, which isn't anxious or feeling like the world is crushing down on me, which can feel like that a lot of the time if I don't clear my head. And sometimes it feels like there's this junk drawer in my head that makes it so I have to constantly be organizing or analyzing or feeling deeply into my emotions, when really that isn't the case. I don't have to be constantly analyzing everything. I can truly just be sometimes. So I'm just going to jump right in and we're going to figure this out. There are so many stories embedded in this one life, and I want to know all of yours. Bathe within my existence until I become one with the ocean waves. I think I'm scared to be alone. I miss your blanket of an essence that rocked my soul to sleep at night. Take my heart and worship it within the fragile conditions of your body. Cradle my spirit and let it dance on the cracked windowsill late at night. Sometimes things can look so simple on the outside, but there's a whole world of stories lying within. Sit here with me in this simple moment in time. I sit cross-legged in my comfy temple of a home. My hands are cold from the crisp air circulating around me, though I feel so much warmth within the conversation that is being cultivated. I sat outside today on the stump of a tree. The ferns danced by my ankles and held me as I felt so many emotions. Emotions that I couldn't articulate, emotions that I didn't have the energy to analyze, so I just observed within their rawness. Cheese! Adorable.